and gentlemen, welcome to Kingdom of Kodiak. I'm Kodiak. This is episode 33, and with me today is Squire, Kyia, Lashpaw, Dragonheart. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Glad
Fantastic.
to be talking to you. You're one of my favorite people ever. So,
Oh, look at that. Well, maybe that'll answer a question later, and I can raise another finger against Stillhead, but we'll see. Let's get to the bare necessities. Sorry, Sin. Um, how long have you been playing Amtgard?
well, actually, it's funny you should ask that question. As of this weekend, it's been 16 years.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Um,
My first ever Amtgard thing happened um, Maze of, I believe it was 2006, maybe 2005. It's been so long, I don't remember. Um, but my boyfriend at the time had been telling me for like 6 months, "You're gonna come do this nerd thing with me." And I kept telling him, "No, I'm not. I'm not that much of a nerd. No, I'm not doing it." And then he comes to me one day and he says, "Okay, you're doing this nerd thing with me, whether you want to or not."
okay.
And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm going home." And he goes, "No, I've already called your parents. They're not expecting you home until midnight." So basically, I got shanghaied. And we drove out to the corn maze. And I get out of the truck, and he pays my gate fee. And we go into the corn maze. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing all of these people in weird clothes with foam covered sticks beating the crap out of each other. And I was like, there's no way this is my kind of thing. And then Uther, of all people, showed up and he introduced me to Uther. And Uther did the most nerdiest thing I've ever seen in my life. He dropped into an old school, old English type setting. He said, "Oh, my lady, welcome to the kingdom." He kissed my hand, and I've been sold ever since.
So typically the follow-up to that question is how long before you started playing did you know about Amtgard? But we had talked beforehand and you wanted a different question. And that
Yeah.
is, why have you stayed?
Well, the cool thing about this game is that you create so many different relationships. You meet so many different people. And I have forged so many friendships and so many families in the game that it would be really hard for me to walk away because a lot of these people have become real life friends, real life family. Um, it would be really hard for me to walk away. Another reason, and probably the more potent one, is the fact that this game has literally saved my life on more than one occasion.
I hear
Uh,
that.
my grandfather had died the year I turned 16. Actually, right after I first found Amtgard, November 2006, and I was in a really dark place, and the game gave me an outlet where I didn't have to be myself. I could be this other person, and so it helped me get through that. And again, when my mom died in 2015, the same thing happened. You know, And so, because of that, I put so much into this game to see it succeed because I want other people to have that option if they need it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm sorry for your losses in that, but to come out the other side, rise like a phoenix, if you would,
Mm-hmm.
um, and the idea of what that means inside of our game. That's really awesome. So thank you for staying, and obviously we appreciate you and your journey. So
It,
um,
the game itself helped me, and the relationships that I formed in the game have helped me through many, many dark times in my life. And I want that to be there for anybody who needs it. Whether they need friends, whether their home life is bad and they just need somewhere to go, whether they're facing hardships, I want to give back what was given to me.
absolutely, I agree. All right, where I have never met you as Kyia until today. Um, because of your awesome night and my aunt mom, I didn't know you by anything else. Where does Kyia Lashpaw's Dragonheart come from?
Well, my backstory is insanely convoluted and ridiculous. So, when I first came into the game 16 years ago, I was going by the name of Atira. And Atira, one second, Storm, go to bed. My dog's being crazy, forgive me. So Atira was a vampire who had been kidnapped as a child by a werewolf by the name of Whistler. Anybody in Dragonspine who's played for a while should know this name. Whistler was this crazy, twisted, magic-using werewolf. And so he picked me up and he raised me. Now, the real-life version of that is my boyfriend was Whistler, and so I tied my story to his to play the game.
Okay. All right.
So over the course of the years, nobody could pronounce my name. So I decided to change it, and I switched to Kyia, which is another name I've used in D&D characters and, you know, various other nerd things that I love to do. And I took a little hiatus for a while, about a year or so that I stepped away from the game. And when I came back, I wanted to revamp my character. This is a common occurrence. When people leave and then come back, oftentimes they want to reinvent. And so I talked to a friend of mine about not wanting to be a vampire anymore. And he was like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and we'll role play this out at Park one day to get you out of your vampirism. All right, cool. Little did I realize that Jubei had ulterior motives. So one day we're at Park and he calls me, he goes, hey, Kyia, role play session. I'm like, okay, cool. He had a couple of people around to watch it, and so he kills me. He has a healer cure me, resurrect me, so now I'm a human, and then within the space of a couple of heartbeats, he bites me as a werewolf. When he lets go, because this was back in the days when physical contact was allowed, and I've known Jubei for years. When he lets go of me, he goes, welcome to Wolf Riders. And I went, okay then. So now I am a werewolf mercenary, actually. I bounced around for a little while doing magic casters and doing warriors and things like that. And I got into a fighting company and then moved to another fighting company. And my persona has just kind of grown from that. I took a belt, which also changed my persona a little bit. Every action I've taken in the game has some kind of influence on my backstory, my character.
As it should. As it should. Big fan of that, because anyone that's been paying attention to the Kodiak story arc is starting to see a change too. So I'm a big fan of that long storyline. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's 16 years worth of storyline.
Right, right.
It's insane. I gave you the quick version. I'm actually writing the actual version.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know when it's going to be done.
That's awesome. What would you say is the award or achievement you're the most proud of receiving?
Well, that's a hard one. Because a lot of my awards, if you look at my arc, are, you know, there's not really anything that's very poetic, I guess is the word. You know, I've got roses and lions and griffins, and I've got some warriors tucked in there. I guess the achievement that means the most to me was when I took my Baroness spot for Crimson Basin.
Okay.
Because up until then, I had not held any major office. I was the regent, so to speak, of a shire up here in Ruidoso for a little while before it kind of died out. Really hard to keep players up here, really hard to recruit, just all over awkward. And so I held a regent position, but there were only like 4 of us, so we didn't really do anything. No big courts, no big
Right.
anything like that. But when I took the position in Crimson Basin, it was a little bit different. We have a park of 15 to 20 on a good weekend. In Burning Lands, the first kingdom of Amtgard, and it really made me feel like I could do it.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be the achievement that I'm most proud of currently.
Okay.
I'm also really fond of my griffins. Griffins are a unique award that isn't handed out very much anymore. So the fact that I have, I believe, 2 of them makes me very happy.
Fantastic. That's great. You're also stepping into Kingdom Office in the
In a
coming
couple of
week.
weeks, yeah. November 14th is the Kingdom's End Reign and Coronation, and I'll be stepping up as Kingdom Champion, which I'm a little scared about because I've never held a Kingdom office before, but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and
you'll do
it'll
fine.
be instructive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. What is your favorite kind of battle game?
Ooh, do events count?
Sure.
So I would guess that my favorite kind of battle game is going to be probably full class Ring the Bell. But it has to be full class. Militia Ring the Bell is not fun. But full class, on the other hand, is fantastic. Ring the Bell is a really simple game. There's not a whole lot of mechanics to it. Everybody can get involved. And when you add full class to it, the shenanigans that happen is crazy.
Yeah.
I remember one in particular. We were playing Ring the Bell full class in Crimson Basin. And this was right after Sir Smiley had moved down here with his family. And he was playing anti-paladin that day. So we're in the middle of the game. I'm on the opposing team of Smiley. And I look up to see him kick the shield that is the bell. Just full on kick it the opposite direction. And I'm like, what is that about? He's like, you never said we couldn't move the bell. You just said we had to ring it. So he proceeded to kick the bell around the entire field for the whole 30 minutes we were trying to ring it.
That sounds like a Sir Smiley move. I'm proud of it. I'm here for it. Yes, I approve.
The other one that I'm really fond of is Warlord. If we're doing militia battles, Warlord is fun because it can go on forever and nobody ever wins.
Yeah, but I mean, for some of our more competitive players, not winning is a problem. So, but yeah,
they just
Warlord,
better get better.
Yeah, Warlord has its place for sure. Okay, so when you're playing these battle games, what is your favorite class to play?
My favorite? Druid.
Of course it is.
Yeah, yes. I've played Druid for a long time. As a matter of fact, that was all I played for 2 years, 3 years or so. My credits don't reflect that. Like, I should be a level 6, but I'm not. So I'm working on that. Druid's my favorite because it's super versatile. You can go Kandri Druid, you can go Offense Druid, you can go Total Defense. I actually used to run with 3 spell lists in my belt pouch, depending on what I heard coming from the scuttlebutt on the other team. And so I would swap out my spell lists as needed. I actually got the nickname Battle Druid at Clan one year because I hooked up with 3 shieldmen, stood behind them, lobbing entangle balls, healing them, mending their stuff, and just rolling the field. The 4 of us.
That's awesome. I mean, it's an opportunity to be actually useful as a druid, whereas I just play greedy and everything comes to me, and I only give stuff out if I think it's beneficial to me.
Yeah.
Like keeping one of our knights alive, important.
Yeah, super helpful.
Yeah.
The current build that I'm running right now, or I was before the shutdown, is I was running a level 6 healer build, which is a lot of fun. I call it Oracle because I take certain things that allow me to pretty much counter anything on the field for my team. And so to be able to see all eventualities is why it's called Oracle.
Sweet.
So my favorite is Druid, but what I've been playing recently is Healer.
Cool. And what is your favorite loadout? What are we bringing on the field for weapons?
So my favorite weapon combination ever is flail and shield. However, I'm not actually allowed to use my flail except in tournaments these days. Fighting company petitioning thing. I'm not allowed to use my flail except in open tournaments. So I've been running sword and board for 2.5 years now.
Cool. I like that. Especially since it takes a flail off the field. That makes my day. So
yeah, you hate them.
Yes, I do.
I
You're
remember.
Right.
I remember. Clan, I butchered you.
Yeah, well, I'm not that good of a fighter, so seeing something that I don't see regularly is already hard. Anyways, that would conclude the bare necessities. Sorry, Sid.
Oh.
Let's move to the 3 questions that the viewers of KOK have put out every week. Crown would like to know when Sir Glenolf is actually going to get a toaster, and is there a chance that he may be receiving a soda maker?
Okay, so if memory serves, he should have already gotten the toaster. Nim sent it out in the mail. He should have already gotten it. So this is a question that is null and void at this point.
Yeah, well, Nim drew a picture of a toaster.
Yeah, he didn't say what kind of toaster.
Oh, Sir Glenolf. Oh, well, okay. Actual toaster is in the question, though. So
actual toaster.
Yeah.
Well, given the fact that we're in a quarantine period right now and nobody can see each other, you better get that thing in the mail, Kodiak.
Oh, so now it's on me. Okay, yeah. All right. So we've went 33 episodes, 33 weeks consecutively with KOK, and finally it's on me to come through with a toaster.
You.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving it to you. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thanks. What a gift. What a penance.
And as far as the soda maker, as long as it is producing root beer floats, yes. If it is not producing root beer floats, no.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk to Sir Glenolf about that and see what his usage was gonna be for it. Root beer floats, he might get one, but if he's suggesting that he's just gonna make soda, no sir, no sir,
no sir.
We want ice cream floats. Still, I would like to know, what are your thoughts on bears?
Love bears. Bears are strong and unique and violent, but they're also cute and cuddly and make me want to pet their ears.
And what or who would be your favorite bear?
Polar bears.
Polar bears. Oh, Stillhead, I think we got to vote for Morgan at this point.
Yeah, polar bears.
What is it? 3, 2, 1. Morgan's on the board. Morgan's on the board at this point, folks.
Hi, Morgan. Hate you.
So the following question is, why would your favorite bear be your belt sister?
Oh, so we're just glossing over the fact of she's asking what my favorite bear is. And why is it
so I mean, she asked you what your favorite bear is, but now you have to describe why your favorite bear might be your belt sister.
See, here's where it gets hard, okay? So of the 3 bears on the table, okay, I've known Morgan forever.
Mm-hmm.
Love Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
I've known you since you were itty bitty Kodiak. barely into the game. And I've just recently started getting to know Stillhead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard. Honestly, I can't say that anyone is my favorite because I love you all so much.
Oh,
I can't. I can't
I
pick
mean,
a favorite.
I could probably help you in the idea of a belt bias here, but that's
She's definitely in the top 3.
there you go, Stillette. Your top 3 bear. You're a top 3 bear. That's got to say something. Doesn't mean that you're number 1 though. Stillette would also like to know, what are your thoughts on Dragonspine's mobile pool?
Yes, absolutely, 100% yes.
Okay.
I lived in Las Cruces for the 25 of my 35 years of life. It is dreadfully hot all the time, so yes, pool.
Okay.
Also, mobile jacuzzi is a thing. You got to get both.
Oh, both.
Yes.
All right. I don't know if Dom's got a truck that's long enough to do both, but we'll talk to him. Should bears be allowed in the pool and or jacuzzi?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Now, granted, you're going to have to appoint someone to the cleaning of the pool and the jacuzzi because bear hair gets everywhere.
Good question. So who in your mind would be the pool or jacuzzi bear cleaner?
We're putting it in Dom's truck, right?
Yep. Well, I mean, as of right now, the image is Dom's got a truck because Dom has whatever you need. So
okay.
Yeah.
Then I suppose if it's going in Dom's truck, it's gonna have to be Brandon. I can't remember his Amp Guard name to save my life, but
Sin.
There it is. Yeah. So I have known Brandon for God, we went to high school together.
Yeah.
So I've known Brandon forever. So I know they're pals. I know they're in the same fighting company, so it's got to be Brandon. If it's going in Dom's truck.
Sin, look, you've made it farther into an episode of Kingdom Kodiak than ever before. You've been given a task. You're in charge of the mobile jacuzzi cleaning when the bears are in it. Congratulations. That ends the 3 questions that are asked by all of our KOK viewers. Now let's get to your categories. I made 2 categories for you. I really wanted to start with what seemed to be the more predominant of the 2 categories, and that would be belts. We're going to talk about a couple different varieties of that. And then the second category is buffers. And then, of course, we'll follow up with our funny questions. But let's get to belts. What's your belt family like? That's a still hat question.
Oh, goodness. So we're all kind of crazy. We're all very much service oriented. For those of you that don't know, my knight is Annabelle Lee. Love Annabelle so much. You have no idea. And my belt line is a bit crazy. I mean, we have to be to put up with Ruth. But my belt line, honestly, is one of the closest knit groups I've seen. I talk to them outside of the game quite often. Mm-hmm. I'm on the phone with Ruth fairly often. I talk to my belt brother, Devrick.
Yeah, that's his name. Yeah.
See, it's hard for me to know his name too. But I talk to my belt brother, Devrick, quite a bit. Still, Het and I are still getting to know each other. And my man at arms, I talk to on a regular basis as well. We're all very close knit. We all kind of have the same drives, to improve the game, serve the game, do what we can for it, and push on. So I have to say that I didn't realize that there were that many people like me in the game. And it's probably one of the most wonderful connections that I've made in the game, period.
Cool. So I have an extension to this question, but Dame Annabelle wants to know, have you ever regretted taking a belt from your knight?
I've never regretted taking a belt from my knight ever.
Mhm.
She did ask, well, she did tell me once, years and years ago, now, that if I wanted to drop her belt and go with somebody else who could do more things for me, that she wouldn't be mad at me if I did. And I looked her right in the eye and I said, absolutely not. I will stay your woman at arms for the rest of my life if that's what it takes. At the time, we didn't know if she was ever going to get knighted. I've been with Annabelle 5 years, almost 6 now,
Mhm.
that I've been with Annabelle in her belt line. We didn't know if she was ever going to get her belt. And when she told me that I could do that if I wanted to, I looked at her like she was crazy. I'm like, no, you're my knight, whether you're a knight or not.
Right.
This is where I belong, and this is where I'm gonna stay.
Right.
Yeah, I never once regretted it.
Okay.
You know,
My question, of course, is I need to know how that relationship started. Tell us about you becoming belted to Annabelle Lee at the time and Dame Annabelle Lee currently.
so I had just come back to the game after a little hiatus, and I was talking to Annabelle and Sir Francis about getting more involved in the game, because up until that point I had been very surface. I came and I played and I went to Maze and I went to the Gathering, but I wasn't really involved. I was just kind of a surface player, and I wanted to get more involved. And so I was talking to her and Sir Francis about how to do that. And she said, well, getting in a belt line is a good way to do that. Um, volunteering for more things around the kingdom. And bear in mind, this was when Dragonspine still had a static crown.
Right.
Volunteering for more things, helping out with events and courts and, whatnot was a good way. She said fighting companies were also a good way to get more involved. Being more involved in households, of which I have a plethora. Um, all these things are ways to do that. And I was like, well, how do I get in a belt line? And she goes, you want to be in a belt line? I went, yeah. She went, okay. We left the conversation at that. Next week, go out to the park, and she comes to me and she goes, so I have 2 belts. And I went, what? And she went, I have 2 different belts that I can take. I have this black and silver belt, which is more fighty and more, combat oriented. Or I have this yellow belt, which is more arts and sciences and crafting and stuff. Which do you think would fit you better? And I said, well, I fight a lot, so that might be it. And she went, okay then. And that's how I ended up in Annabelle's belt line.
It sounds so simple because you talk to Ruth and then the thing just happens.
Yeah, sometimes it happens like that. It did with Annabelle and I. We'd been friends, acquaintances before that. And then she gave me the belt, and I found one of the most meaningful relationships in my life.
That's
with
great.
my knight.
Yeah.
And with Sir Francis, right? Because they kind of go together.
Yeah.
And sometimes it happens like that. Other people, I've had stories of other people asking for belts, being like, hey, I want to be your person. And the knight going, you're not okay. I've heard knights approaching people and going, I really like your style. You're mine now, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
That relationship, right, when you take a belt from someone, is unique to you and the person that you're getting the belt from. Mm-hmm. Right? I've known knights that set really high standards for their belt links. You have to meet this or you're not in my belt line.
Right.
right? To push them, to improve them, to help them. I've known other knights who were like, you do what you're gonna do, and if I can help, let me know. And then you have knights like Annabelle, who tell you that, you know, you can do whatever you want to do and she'll be there to help you. But at the same time, if she says, I need you, it's right then.
Yeah.
Immediate. You know, I've pulled so many hours of work for that woman without even thinking about it. You know,
Yeah.
it's just what I did. And I don't regret it at all. You know, it's helped me learn how the game works, right? On a political level. It's helped me learn how the game works on a service level. And if you're looking, you know, to be picked up by a knight, if you've got your eye on someone, you may just need to take a deep breath and take the plunge yourself. Right. You know, go to them and be like, hey, I'd like to be a part of your belt line. What do I need to do? You'd be surprised how many of them will be like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, that's fair. So when you're looking at taking an underling, what are you looking for in a person?
So for me, I look for someone who has a lot of potential, because my purpose as a squire is to help my underlings reach their full potential. Right? Whether I ever make a knight or not, that is my job. It's also my job to make sure that my knight has everything that she could possibly need. If that's bodies to run a feast, if that's someone to make sure that we help pick up park, if that's her needing toilet paper delivered in the middle of the quarantine, right? That's also part of my job. So when I look for someone to help me, I'm actually looking for someone to help her and the game. Right. So when I was looking for my man-at-arms, right? I wasn't really looking for my man-at-arms, but I was keeping my eye out for anybody who might show potential. When I found Lucian, he'd been playing in the same park as me for about a year. This is a guy who every time we got done with the day would start helping pick up. You know, he wouldn't just load him and his kid in the car and vanish. You know, he'd help pick up trash or help people clean up. You know, and that kind of service-oriented mindset is really what I look for. Being as I'm a combatant, I also was looking for someone who showed good potential for a fighter. Excuse me. So I look for someone who's like me. Someone who's going to work hard when the need arises, and someone who's going to play hard, and someone who's going to get drunk with me. Right? And someone who's going to be able to make the game a better place. Cool. And I found that in Lucian. He really, really amazed me. The first little event that I took him to before or after I gave him my belt, you know, we rode up together to Alpine, Texas, to go to Thorn Mountain. And I told him, I'm like, look, guy, I have a reputation here, okay? If you need something done, if something needs to be done and I'm not already doing it, I expect your help. If I'm busy and somebody comes to you and goes, hey, I need Kyia, and you see that I'm busy, you offer yourself. And that boy worked the whole weekend. He was helping set up battle games. He was helping unload the trucks for Dragon Master. He was helping set up for the tournament. He was helping with the food. Like every time I turned around, this guy was working. But at the same time, he was playing. He fought in the tournament. He fought in the battle games. He was ditching. He was all over the place. And I remember messaging Annabelle after I got home, and I said, is this what it's like, you know, working with me? And she went, absolutely.
Awesome. I love it.
And so that's what I look for. I've got my eye on a couple of people that could take my page belt. I had one, and then she got promoted to Squire, which I'm super proud for her. My Grand Knight offered her Squire's belt, and that was a very good move.
Cool.
You know, so she became a Squire about the time I did, a little before actually.
Nice.
She was a fantastic gal. Still is. But I've got my eye on a couple of people. You know, I don't know if anything will come of it yet. But yeah, that's what I look for in a belt line.
Awesome. Deverick would like to put you on the spot, much like Stillhat did against the Bears. Who is your favorite belt sibling, and why is it Deverick?
He's actually correct.
Oh.
I love Deverick something fierce. We have been through quite a bit together in the time that we've been with Ruth. He's actually been with her almost as long as I have. He came in about a year or so after, I think, 6 months, something like that. And we've been through quite a bit. The entire time that he was stationed overseas, we kept in some contact through Mags, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I love him to death. You know, I wouldn't say that there's a favorite so much as I know Deverick better. You know, I'm still getting to know Stillhat. I've never met her in person that I can remember. I've slept and drank since then, so I don't remember ever meeting her in person. But we're still getting to know each other. We're still doing that. But anytime that I have needed anything from Deverick, he's been there. Mm-hmm. Anytime I hope that he's needed anything from me, I've been there. You know, we have a close relationship. So as of right now, it'd have to be Deverick because I just don't know Stillhat. Can't talk. I just don't know Stillhat as well yet. But we're gonna remedy that.
Well, as one of your favorite people, and as both of them being my two best friends, let me just say that you have made good company. My aunt, mom, and my two best friends are your inner circle. So
that's wonderful. You know,
look at that.
I trust Ruth explicitly. So right before she got knighted, we were talking about, you know, who was going to get progressed, you know, who was going to get the Squire's belt. And she told me that Deverick was definitely getting one. I went, definitely. Mm-hmm. And I had known for years that I was going to get one. She had told me that years and years. She's like, as soon as I'm a knight, you're getting one.
Yeah.
And I was super, super happy about that. And later when she told me that she had taken Stillhat, I was like, I don't know this person. And she said, trust me, you'll like her. Mm-hmm. So with that endorsement, I can't wait to meet her in person.
Knowing the three of you, I think what Dame Annabelle did here was assure that all the belts of knighthood will be covered at some point. She goes, you're a service belt line. Deverick is a sword knight in training. Stillhat is a serpent knight by far, and you're a crown. And
flame actually is my path.
Well, right, but okay. You could all be crown, and then you could be flame. That's fine. But I think she found a way to get all of the belts under her, and it's amazing. It's good stuff.
It was a very strategic play on Annabelle's part, for sure.
Right. Yeah. All right. So there's another kind of topic that we like to talk about when it comes to belts. But to start that, Stillhat wanted to know, what is your long-term goals in Amtgard?
So ultimately, my goal is to leave the game a better place than when I found it.
Cool.
That's the ultimate goal. People ask me all the time, do you want to be a knight? And yes, I do. You know, I want that white and red belt more than anything.
Okay.
But that's not my goal. That's something I want. Right?
Yeah.
So my ultimate goal is to leave the game a better place than I found it.
That's all anyone could ever
Um,
ask of you, right?
if I get my belt in the process, great. If I don't,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So you answered the question about knighthood, but I did have a caveat question I wanted to add to the end of that. And why is it the white and red over any of the other belts?
So Serpent Belt, I'm not much of an artist. I'm a writer, and that's about it. I do some sewing, but most of my stuff, like this tunic I'm wearing, this was made for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, the tunic you see me in the pictures, that's my fighting tunic, and that one I made myself, and it's crap. Um, I'm just not a very artsy person, so going that route for me would be really, really hard, and it's just not who I am. Um, the sword belt, I love to fight. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love tournaments. I love battle games. I love fighting. It's a wonderful part of our game, and I'm fairly good at it. If I get my sword belt, it'll be by accident. It's not what I'm trying for, right?
Sure.
I fight because I enjoy it, not because I want to be a sword knight. The crown belt, um, I don't want to be in office that long. um, to be brutally and bluntly honest, I don't want to be in office long enough to get a crown belt.
Okay.
My services can be utilized elsewhere.
Oh.
If I happen to do that because I need to, because nobody's gonna fill the spots, then so be it.
Okay.
But that's not really what I want to do. The the red and white belt, the flame belt, that means more to me than anything because it's a service belt. It's it's serving the game, serving your
Mm-hmm.
players, serving your populace, serving the game, and ultimately it goes hand in hand with my ultimate goal of making the game a better place than when I found it. It goes hand in hand, you know, ensuring that ensuring that everybody gets fed at an event, you know, ensuring that there's always water on the field so that nobody dehydrates, making sure that events run smoothly so that everybody has a good time. Um, you know, most events that I go to, I work in some capacity because I can't trust anybody else to do it right.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know,
There's.
I have to be there. I'm always volunteering, you know, to do this or to do that, especially when nobody wants to do it.
Mhm.
You know, I remember 2 years ago at World Banner Wars, um, both myself and Muse had volunteered to be part of the security detail, you know, security team. And when we got there, nobody else from the security team had been there yet. So we immediately started doing security, walking the money from gate to where it was locked, um, doing the fire checks, making sure everything was good, running security rounds, you know, the whole shebang. And then more of the team got there, and it lightened up a little bit, but not a whole lot. It was Muse, myself, and two other Black Cross peons that were running pretty much all of security. Um, and then the second night of the event, third night of the event, um, the security crat messaged us and was like, "Hey, I put a piece of rebarb through our tire on our way to the event, and I'm not gonna make it." So we just took it. We just did it, Muse and I, and the two other peons, Crispy, Kato, sorry, Kato was one, and Mitch. Is that his Amp Guard name? Mitchie. I think that's his Amp Guard name. And Mitchie, we ran security, and we did it because nobody else was going to.
Mhm.
This was an event 12 hours away from home in Atoka, Oklahoma. And we did it because we needed to.
Okay.
That's the kind of person I am and the kind I've always been.
Cool. So we are gonna go from belts to now boppers. You mentioned a couple of different names that would be members of your fighting company. Can you talk to us about this motley crew a little bit, as Dame Annabelle put it? And
Yeah.
tell us about the company as a whole.
So my boys, the Legion of the Black Cross is the company I'm with. If you didn't gather that from the pictures, we're doing something wrong. But the company itself is about 40 people strong. They're not all shown in that picture. But we're about 40 people strong, and we're a bit rowdy. We like to drink, we like to party at camp after the day is done, sometimes during the day. We're a bit rowdy and we're a bit crazy, but all of my boys, all of them have hearts of gold. My boys are one of the other best things that have come out of this game for me. I have brothers, so many brothers. And these guys are something awesome. We practice drills as often as we can when we get together, all of us, or as many of us as we can. We practice line fighting, we practice 3-man fights, we practice one-on-ones. We're always helping each other improve our fighting. We work together as a cohesive unit. When we can field together, all of us at the same time, we're a sight to behold. We move together, and even the classes we play are strategic.
Cool. Can you maybe tell us about the ones that are in the picture, the members that are in the picture?
Hold on. I don't remember which picture I sent you. Let me look.
That would be the one. Let's see. I know Muse. Muse is in there.
Let's see. Okay, so I sent you the picture of the 5 of us. Okay, so yeah, Muse is there to my right. Kato is directly to my left. And then the young man crouched in front of us is Skeevy J. And the one on the far left is Brady. He's actually no longer with us. He decided that it wasn't a good fit for him, and he stepped out, which just fine. Still a wonderful guy. Love him to death. So Kato and myself became peons together within like a month of each other. And Mitch came right after that. Like we all lined up like 1, 2, 3. And then Skeevy J, I'm actually not real sure when he got picked up. But this picture was actually taken in Alpine. We had gone up for a visit, a park day, I can't remember now. And there were a lot of us on the field, so we decided to take a picture, send it to the boys. Skeevy J is a notorious assassin. He runs around with literally a belt full of throwing weapons. It is utterly ridiculous, and I hate it. Kato plays druid most of the time. I'm playing warrior there, and Muse usually plays monk.
As a little sidebar, if anyone was interested in getting to know, me and Muse hit GOTC the last time we were able to hang out together. We got to do a security shift together. That was pretty cool.
But yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, But Kato, for anyone that needs a background, is also the person who runs the RP Tavern
Yes.
at
Yes.
GOTC. So
Tilted Tankard Roleplay Tavern.
yep.
He's also one of the founding members of House Tankard.
There you go. So anyone that needed that little piece of information, and Kato, you should be reaching out to me because the fact that you haven't been on yet is disturbing.
I'll yell at my brother for you, I promise.
Fix that. All right. Fantastic. So the next question is Dame Annabelle wanting to know, who is your favorite person to fight?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. You know, Muse is a really good fight. But I've been putting up with him for 3 years, fighting him nonstop, so I'm kind of over it. But he's a tremendous fighter. He's a tremendous fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Like game wide, or
sure, why not?
Fox.
Okay.
So you may not know Foxy, but this lovely young lady, I love her to death. She's probably my favorite fight.
Mm-hmm.
She is Sir Boots' Squire. She's a tremendous fight. I love her to death. She fights well. She's very fast. She's very quick. Her style is unique,
mm-hmm.
To say the least. So I'd have to say my favorite fight game wide is going to be Fox. My most challenging fight, though, that I've ever come across has to be Almond Joy or Demetrius.
Okay.
Both of them are in my fighting company. Both of them are extremely good fighters. Almond Joy is well on his way to a sword belt, and I believe Demetrius is too. The one fight that I would like to have that I haven't had a chance yet is Thurgs, the leader of our company. Anytime we get together, I'm always working, so I haven't gotten to fight him. There's so many. It's hard to pinpoint a favorite person to fight because there's so many. I really enjoy fighting Manthax.
Mm-hmm.
Sir Manthax. He's one of my favorites because even though he's so much better than me, he doesn't take it easy on me. He always fights 100%.
Sure.
There's too many to name a favorite, I guess. I've come across so many wonderful fighters that get my blood going and get my muscles warm and challenge me, and at the end, even if I lose, I still had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know specifically Muse and I in the 0 to 4 at GOTC, we had a couple different simos and a couple different events at the finals. So I could see why that would be someone you mentioned, plus having 3 years of fighting him. Okay.
Yeah, he's my sponsor in our fighting company, so he's been training me the entire time I've been under him to come into the company. So we've been fighting together.
All right. Morgan would like to know, what is your favorite event and why is it Spring Wars?
Stop putting words in my mouth there, Morgan. So, my favorite event. Banner Wars.
Okay.
Banner Wars. And I think it's because my first Banner Wars was so intense. I've been to the Gathering so many times. I mean, I started going to the Gathering when we didn't have a kitchen and you had to pack in 5 days worth of food and rough camp. We didn't
Okay.
have cabins. we didn't have any of that, you know. So for me, the gathering is a tradition. If I don't go in July, my year is not complete. Like it's terrible. But it's not my favorite. It's a wonderful event, don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I always work it because it's my event. It's in my backyard and has been from the time I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's my event. I always work. Um, I don't get to enjoy it as much as everybody else because I'm making sure everybody else is enjoying it, which is fine. I don't mind that at all. Um, Banner Wars, though. Banner Wars, yes, I worked, you know, but I fought in every tournament they held that year. There were 4.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the event that it rained from Thursday morning until Sunday morning, all the way through. We were fighting in the muck and the mud. We had maybe a couple hours of sunshine a day, just enough to dry your clothes. And I had so much fun that would have to be my favorite. Now, Spring War was awesome. It was the only event of the year. Ha. So I'm really glad I got to go. It was the only Spring War I'd ever been to.
Mm-hmm.
It was hot. It was muggy. The fighting was wonderful, but oh my lord, I broke my finger that event.
Ooh.
You know, it was a great event. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as much fun as Banner Wars. You know, Banner Wars, and it really bites because they're going to discontinue that event and come up with a new one. But Banner Wars is an event for fighting companies. You know, teams of 5 or 10 or however many of your company you can get together, and then the games over the course of the week. If you win them, you get points, and at the end of the week, you're declared the winner of Banner Wars. It's wonderful. I love it. It's such a unique way to do things for companies.
Okay. All right. Damon, I believe would like you to give a guesstimate, unless you have the number right off the top of your head. How many feasts have you ran or helped with?
Okay, so running, 1.
Okay.
Only 1. That was 2017 clan, I think, when we did the chicken stir fry. Muse and I put up the money, he did the recipe, and then we did the prep and the everything together. We ran the meal totally.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of at the last minute because Annabelle was running kitchen that year, and she called me in March, and she said, "I'm missing a meal. Can you do it?" And I said, "Of course I can." Crap, what am I gonna do? But she still owes me a tunic for that, actually.
Oh, Damon,
Now that I think about it.
Oh.
Let's see. Yeah, so 1 I've run. Now, helped out with? Oh, God. At least 20. At least. Maybe more.
Oh,
um,
you need the same exact award that Damon, I believe, was supposed to get at her knighting, and that is the award that gives you the ability and permission to say no. I understand.
That's not in my vocabulary.
I know, and it's not hers either, but Edelsbeth had the idea that if we give her the award that says no on it, maybe she'll use it.
Yeah, no, that's not in our makeup.
You just said it,
we
so
can't
it's
do
not.
that. So here's the thing, right? Is for someone like me and for someone like Annabelle, when we see something happening to our game that we can prevent, we have to. I cannot let this game flounder at all in any way. So the last gathering we went to, I was there a couple of days early.
Mhm.
I was on site Tuesday early morning, like
Mhm.
10 o'clock. Muse and his wife Mouse had been there since late Monday afternoon, helping rake paths, helping clean up, just doing a little bit, to make sure the site was ready.
Mhm.
And so I'm there early Wednesday when everybody starts to show up, right? Um, the craps showed up, and I was standing outside of the kitchen hall smoking a cigarette, and Bex came up, and she looked really just run down.
Mhm.
And I asked her, I'm like, what's going on? And she started telling me that there were like 6 crats that pulled out at the last minute. And I said, okay, what positions? What's going on? And she starts telling me, and I realized the only one that I could pick up was kitchen crap. I was certified, still am, actually, until next year. Um, Kitchen certified, alcohol certified, to do the temps and all of that stuff that is necessary for when you prepare food. And I told her, I'm like, I'm certified. I've got my certification on my phone. I'll do your kitchen. I got you. I'll do your kitchen. And she said, okay. And so I spent the event that I hadn't volunteered for anything, not even a meal. I was going to play that year.
Yeah.
And I spent the whole event running kitchen because nobody else was there to do it.
Mhm.
That's the kind of people we are.
Sure.
I couldn't in good conscience sit there and know that she was going to have nobody to run the kitchen because nobody was certified.
Right.
I had it. I could do it. And that's just how I am. In the early years with Ruth, she was always regent of Dragonspun. Always. This woman. Uh, Still is, actually. uh, but, always. It was either her or Francis.
Right.
So I spent so many times in the kitchens for feasts because Annabelle was doing it, and my automatic response is, "What do you need help with?
Right.
Where do you need
Okay.
me?"
Uh, I
It's just what we do, man.
I think we counted Demon Ability at 13 regencies at this point. Because it was a conversation we had last.
Give her her crown belt. Yeah, you're called out.
Yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So I had a question. What's your favorite piece of garb? Take the heat off me for a second here.
My favorite piece?
Mhm.
I don't have a whole lot of garb because I'm a fighter. I throw on my tunic, get it dirty, and I leave it dirty until I decide it needs a wash. But I guess my favorite piece currently would have to be my cloak. When I had my page, before she was promoted to Squire, the project that I asked her for was a cloak of good enough caliber to be entered in a Dragon Master and win it. I'll be damned if she didn't.
Well, cool. That's awesome.
She came in second place. She didn't win it, but she came in second place. I was happy with that.
That's awesome.
This cloak matches my color scheme. It's black and red, much like my tunic, with white trim. It's got a beautiful clasp that I use. And if you were at Maze when Annabelle got knighted, you saw me wearing it.
Yeah.
It's my absolute favorite. And my fighting tunic, I made it myself.
Right.
And it's held up, which I'm surprised at. But that tunic has a lot of sentimental meaning for me. Because I didn't ask to be in this fighting company. Right? I told Muse that I wanted to meet with the boys, and see what they were like and see if it might be something I was interested in. And this was after I put down my colors from the Hunt, which is a company that I believe is inactive these days. Ruth's fighting company, actually. Quicksilver was our founder, I believe. And there were a few of us, and right after I joined, it kind of died out. So I put down my colors and I went, in search for another company. And so Muse took me out to an event in Texas, and I met the boys. And I fought next to them all day. And I found something there that was just extraordinary. And I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. And he goes, well, we'll see if anybody liked you enough to pick you up. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And a week later, I guess, Muse comes down the stairs because we live together. Muse comes down the stairs and he's like, hey, so we're going to need to go get you some material. And I'm like, what? Why? He's like, because I found somebody to pick you up. And I went, oh, yeah? He went, yeah, I'm going to take you. And I went, okay, cool, awesome. And then he tells me that Thurgs had messaged him and said, no, seriously, take her. So I was recruited to the company that I had my eye on. So it was super cool.
Awesome. All right, last question before we get to the funny ones. And it's a serious one, and it comes from your knight. So Damon, I believe, would like to know, are you happy that you left Dragonspine to go to Burning Lands?
That's kind of a double-edged sword, to be honest. Lord. So I played for 10 years in Dragonspine.
Mm-hmm.
And in that 10 years, I had 3 awards that were given in that 10-year span. And although I enjoyed Dragonspine, right? I love the people. It's always going to be my home. It's where I started. I am actually glad that I left and I came to Burning Lands. Because in the few years that I've been in Burning Lands, I am now halfway to a flame belt. I have warriors. I have griffins. I have lions. I feel like I'm more noticed here. Okay. What I do for the game is more noticed. But that's because we're a small kingdom. It's easy to see people here. It's harder to see people in Dragonspine because you're so big. And that's not anybody's fault. But I do feel that I'm more seen here. So am I happy that I left Dragonspine for BL? Yes. But also no, because Dragonspine's my home.
Yep.
It's hard, because I know so many people in DS from so many locales. I mean, I've got people in Arizona, I've got people in New Mexico, I've got friends that I grew up with, that I've been a teenager with, so it's rough. But at the same time, I think it was a good move for me. I guess politically is the right word. I guess it was a good move for me to be able to get recognition for the work that I do.
Yeah, and I mean, spoilers: the door isn't locked, and it swings both ways.
I could always come back.
Yeah, right. But no, you're doing great works for Burning Lands, and I mean, growth of Amtgard doesn't hinge on people being part of Dragonspine. Like
the growth of the game wide. It doesn't matter where I am. I could be in Neverwinter. I could be in Iron Mountains. I could be in the Sea Cake. I could be in Emerald Hills. I could be in Wetlands. I could be in Northern Lights. Right. No matter where I go, I'm going to be the same person.
Right.
I'm going to do the same kind of work. So whatever kingdom I'm in will reap the benefits.
Fantastic. All right, let's get to the funny questions.
I'm excited.
These are some interesting ones. Still would like to know, are birds real?
No, I don't believe they are. I think they're little camera robots.
Who do they work for?
Who does anybody work for?
We're just brains and bats, man. I have no idea.
I mean, I don't really know how to put that because we don't even know who we work for.
There it is. Okay. All right. Shadow government. It exists. Tell Muse.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He'll want to know.
Oh, you think I came up with that by myself? Muse is the one that taught me that.
Yeah. I'm sure he did. Again, I set security with him. I know. Morgan would like to know, would you rather tent up with 3 guys who haven't changed their tunics at any Amtgard event or 6 soaked dogs?
Definitely the 3 guys in their tunics, because I already do that on a regular basis. So
okay,
nothing to worry about.
Morgan would also like to know.
My boys fight really hard on the field, and 90% of the time we do not have time to shower, nor do we want to shower because we're on to the drinking.
That's fair.
So,
first off, Morgan's going to call out everyone that's listening as a simpleton, but wants you to confirm that cereal is indeed soup.
Well, soup can't be cold, so no.
Gazpacho. Gazpacho's a soup.
I suppose. I mean, I guess technically.
That's the best kind of right. Yeah. Cereal is
my mind's a little broken right now. Yeah. How is that even possible? Morgan, you jerk face. I didn't need to know that.
This is what Morgan does.
I'm just gonna have some cereal soup.
Yeah, there you go. He rips open space and time and throws his opinions out there and then closes it with mental powers. He's a wizard.
It's ridiculous.
Kato would like to know, can you tell us how you got the nickname Mom Mode?
Oh, of course he'd ask that. Of course he would. Okay, so Spring War this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess it goes back further than that. So a lot of the boys in the company will come to me and ask me to remind them to do stuff. Oh, because I'm usually the most sober of us all because I work during the day. Mm-hmm. Typically, I'm doing crap. I'm in the kitchen. I'm volunteering for this. I'm volunteering for that. So typically I'm the most sober during the day. So, excuse me. So typically the boys will come and they'll ask me, hey, remind me to do this. And Kato is notoriously bad for asking me to do this. All the time. He'll say things like, hey, don't let me go on the field without my gloves. Or he'll be like, hey, make sure I eat. Or he's diabetic.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Or, hey, make sure I put on my greaves before I go out there. I'll blow my knees out. So come Spring War this past year, he was doing that kind of stuff. And so I was doing it back. Put on your gloves. Don't go on that field without your gloves. Go get your bracers. Go get your greaves. Drink water. Hail hydrate. Here's a case of water, boys, because I wasn't fighting a lot because I broke my fingers the second day of the event.
Right.
You've been drinking a lot of alcohol. Why don't you have some Gatorade? Like, I was doing the thing. And Kato, in his inebriated state, looks over at me one afternoon while I was telling him to put on his gloves and to put his hat on because he was getting sunburned, which he asked me to do, mind you. And he goes, shut up, Mom. And I flipped around and I looked at him and I'm like, if my hand wasn't broke, I would beat your butt. Like, you asked me to remind you to do these things and I'm doing it and now you're telling me not. Ooh, I was so mad. And I was taking care of Muse, making sure he had all of his stuff and just all around taking care of the boys, just what I do. I didn't have anything to do at Spring War. I wasn't working. I took one security shift where I rode around in a golf cart for 2 hours. I didn't have anything to do. It was an event that I could play at, and then I broke my freaking finger. So I was doing what I could do.
Awesome. All right. Morgan would like to know, what is your favorite drink and why is it Franzia?
Okay, one, that's not my favorite drink. It's just the easiest. Okay, so I can't actually tell you why. It's a company secret.
Okay. All right.
But he is right. We do drink a lot of Franzia, and we do enjoy it. Come by the camp at any point, and you will probably figure out why. But so I guess my favorite drink, creamsicle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Fireball and cream soda.
Okay.
Yeah, Ruth can tell you about that one. That would probably be my favorite go-to, just on the general,
Okay.
especially at an event because you can make it in a big batch. You know, I used to have a cup that was this big that I'd fill with my drink and we'd go on walkabouts. It's easy to make, you know, a couple of shots of Fireball, fill it with cream soda, off you go. Super easy, super chill. Either that or it'd have to be cereal milk.
Which is a soup.
Yeah, I guess apparently. So cereal milk is a recipe that Muse found online. It's 3 Olives vodka, the fruity, it's called Froopy or Loopy. It's called Loopy. It smells just like Fruit Loops. You put a shot of that in there with some coconut milk and some, I can't remember. It's his recipe, but it looks and tastes just like the milk you drink out of your bowl after you eat a bowl of Fruit Loops. It's freaking amazing.
Which is technically a broth now.
Yeah, technically it's a broth. So I guess it's not cereal milk, it's cereal that is so no, that is
it's
not
milk broth. It's I'm
apparently
sorry.
it's a broth now.
Yep. This is on Morgan at this point. All responsibilities go to Morgan.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I'll have to smack him really hard the next time I see him.
2 questions. All we have left. Who wills it?
God wills it.
Okay.
So, okay. I know that was from Barrage.
Sure.
So that's our company saying.
Oh, okay.
If any number of us are around, even 2, and somebody and something really good happens for us, or we're trying to scare our opponents or anything, we'll just start hollering it. God wills it, right? When it's all of us together and there's 20, 25, 30 of us hollering this, it's amazing.
Cool.
We have others. We have Deus Vult, which means to victory or God's victory, something like that. It's Latin. I don't know Latin, so. But yeah, God wills it.
Okay. And then Still Hat wants to add on to that. Why is it this way?
Because this is the way.
Oh, it is. Oh. You obviously haven't seen the derpy dragon sitting on top of the mountains. Not the Dragon Spine logo, but the Kodiak rendition of such.
I have not. Is that a thing? You're gonna have to send that to me.
We were playing Drawful, and I only had so much time.
What?
Drawful? It's a
Pictionary?
computer game. It's essentially Pictionary.
On the computer. Okay.
On the computers, yeah. And I drew a really, really bad rendition of the Dragon Spine logo because I'm atrocious at drawing. And
Me too, don't feel bad.
One of the lines that got to get added to it, because you get to add some words to it. I'm sorry, it wasn't Truffle, it was TKO, but which is a T-shirt making game.
Oh, okay.
And one of the things you could put underneath the picture was, "Why is it this way?" And yeah,
why is it this way? Well, Well, you know, I mean, my first response is, of course, this is the way because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Um, I guess the other question is, why would it not be?
I mean, in a world where soup and cereal are roughly the same thing, what? What?
That gives me a headache
Yeah, yeah, it's fair.
because I love cereal, and now I will not stop thinking about it as a cold soup.
There it is.
Although,
Kyia,
wait, I thought of something.
sure.
I just thought of something. So
Mhm.
soups typically have to be cooked together, right? You put the ingredients in and you stew them together. You know,
Yeah.
you cook them together to make the soup.
Uh-huh.
Then, if it's cold, it's chilled, and if it's warm, it's kept warm. Technically, we put the cereal in the milk and then immediately eat it. No cooking required.
Hmm.
So it's
So,
milkshake.
by your logic, if we introduce warm milk to the cereal,
You're a heathen.
God wills it.
God wills it.
Apparently. Kyia, thank you so much for coming on. I just want to make a few announcements before we go today. KOK members, our viewers that are part of Dragonspine, this Saturday is our coronation. Please stop by for that. There will be upwards of 60 awards being given out to all of the members of Dragonspine for all of the work that we've done through this quarantine. So please be there. There will also be a changing of the monarchy. I will still be in office, but there will be some movement. So please come for that. Additionally, after coronation, we will be having the household and company fair on Discord. So if you know anyone who has a company or a household who is actively recruiting, please reach out to Zana or myself to get them some time to talk so that we can help people find families is essentially what that goal is. But Kyia, again, thank you so much for coming on.
It was
Uh,
my pleasure.
you're the best. I can't wait to hang out again. For those of you who have been watching, this has been Kingdom of Kodiak. I've been Kodiak. I'll see you next week.